Welcome back, and today we're talking about the day I became a god, episode 5. So like always, let's just jump into it. Episode 5 of the day I became a god hit me like a truck. It was an amazing episode, definitely an emotional one. It was awesome. I think this is just a small taste of what we should expect towards the end of this anime. But before we jump into this episode, let me remind you to like and subscribe. It definitely helps the channel out and I would greatly appreciate it. But let's start with the review. This episode starts off with Izanami asking her father if he is finally going to visit their mother's grave. We know Izanami's mother passed away due to an illness. And, her father hasn't really visited her grave at all. Izanami tells him, every year you promise you are going to go, but you do not. We see that, Izanami's father is definitely depressed. He doesn't care about the way he's dressed. I mean, he's definitely in a dark place. And essentially, Odin, the great Odin, sees this as an opportunity to get Yota into Izanami's path of a relationship, right? In order for them to finally be together. Again, this has been the goal since day one, since Yota got rejected so long ago, which is quite funny. So essentially, Odin lays out the plan for Yota to help Izanami's father out in order for him to start going outside. We see that for 10 long years, Izanami's father has been stuck in the house. He only goes outside to the convenience store. So it's not like he has a problem of going outside. It's more like he doesn't really care about going outside, right? Like he's really depressed. I feel bad for that guy. I feel bad for Izanami because really her father is kind of just stuck in the house. And there's not really much that she can do. That's why she's going to the library and studying, because I'm guessing she doesn't want to be like him, just stuck inside of the house every day for years on end. So that's why she's going to the library. And when he came to the realization that that's the only reason really that Yota and her are meeting in the library, because she doesn't want to be at home, it hits him like a truck, just like this episode did. And he's all depressed as well, because really, he thought she was trying to spend time with him, but it was not the case. So, of course, he will be kind of sad because he does like her, okay? Yota definitely loves Izanami, so this is the perfect opportunity. So Odin tells him, go out there, get her father to come outside, find the root of the problem, and let's fix it. Now, once he went in there to get, Izanami's father, it was funny because at first he wanted to go out for a walk. Then he wanted to go to a hostess club, which is just wrong. And then on top of that, the only thing that was able to get Izanami's father out was the lie about getting a present for Izanami. So what does that tell us? Of course, it tells us that Izanami's father truly does care for his daughter, because this is important enough for him to leave the house to help Yota get a present for his daughter. So that's awesome. So he's not completely lost, right? Like, yes, he's in a dark place, but Izanami, his daughter, is like the light at the end of the tunnel, right? The light that's gonna bring him outside, and that's awesome. Now, throughout this whole part of the episode, it was funny. I love food. If you saw my last review of Yoshihime Half-Blood Princess, you will know that I love sleeping, and now you're gonna find out that I love eating. I love food, and I don't know why, but food anime looks so good every time. And they literally had a portion of this episode dedicated to food, and I was getting hungry. I was getting hungry because everything looked so good. We see that Izanami's father has a passion for food. He was going to all these different restaurants. Again, remember, it's been about 10 years since he's been outside of his house to this part of the town, so a lot has changed. And, he was walking around looking at all the different spots to eat. He was going to every single one along with Yota and Odin. So it was funny. It was awesome. And then we get a grim reminder, right? Whenever he was enjoying himself, drinking that wine, it kind of went back into that dark place. It was kind of sad because, it reminded him of his wife. And once he got that reminder, it was like a switch where he's like, I got to go back. I got to be with my wife. And that was dark because honestly, just like Odin, I thought it was going to like a really dark place. And I love how Odin was like, Yota, you have to stop this man. He cannot go home. He cannot be alone right now, because I was thinking the same thing. I thought Izanami's father was planning on taking his life. A big subject. Yeah, that man could not be alone. But no, it turns out he has some videos at home that, his wife left him and his daughter. The problem is Izanami has not seen them. It's a family issue. Izanami's father doesn't feel like Izanami needs to see them. For some reason, we don't know exactly what it is. Of course, you could probably theorize that it was like a goodbye video, right? Of the, Izanami's mother saying goodbye to her daughter, saying goodbye to, her husband. A very emotional video, and for some reason, he does not want Izanami to see it. So this being a family issue, I'm sure that in Japan, the culture will be, you do not get involved in other people's business, right? You do not get involved in other family matters. That's a family issue. You let the family resolve it. But of course, Odin, being the great that she is, she's not going to let that slide. This is, again, the way for Yota to get into Izanami's good graces and kind of start that relationship with her, right? So she comes up with another plan to essentially mask her voice into Izanami's mother's voice, kind of to say goodbyes and tell her about the video. Now, this is great because it's a little loophole, right? Essentially, Izanami gets to find out about the videos without Yota being the one to tell her, and kind of breaking that bond and kind of getting into the issue of the family. So that was awesome, and we just see how gullible Izanami is. She's able to actually believe that the phone that Yota has is able to contact the dead. And she kind of goes along with it, talks to her mother. Emotional scene, because she does believe that it is her mother, talking about Hades and how they have to do inventory down in the underworld. It was funny and sad at the same time. And that's when we see kind of Izanami wake up and go run home to confront her father about the videos. And this is when Truck-Kun comes in and just hits you hard, because damn, I mean, I'm sure this has done before. I'm sure when a family member knows their deadline whenever they're going to pass away due to an illness, I'm sure they'll leave a video behind saying goodbye, because the family needs closure. It's been 10 years since Izanami's father has been sitting here watching these videos without watching the end, because we find out that once you get to the end, you have to delete the video. That's what she wants. That's her last wish for her family, to kind of move on and forget about her. It's been 10 years, right? You don't necessarily have to forget the memories, the happy memories that you have with your family, your mother in this case, but you definitely have to move on, right? Life moves on. You can't keep hanging on the way that Izanami's father has been. And honestly, I feel like this video was mostly to help Izanami's father more than it was for Izanami herself, because she was doing fine. You can see she's kind of down, but really this video was kind of saying happy birthday for every single year that Izanami's mother was not going to be there. It was very sad going through all those different sequences, and then the end when she casted the magic. And I feel like the magic is the key word here, because that's how essentially Yota was able to get Izanami to call her mother, even though it was Odin, but she believed it, right? It was through that word of magic. So I'm sure Izanami made the connection that when Yota used the magic phone, and now we have Izanami's mother saying that she's going to cast a grand magic spell to essentially have her family move on, was very touching. It was a very good connection, and Izanami, of course, is very grateful. But seeing the last video telling Izanami's father, yo, you have to move on. You have to find somebody new. I know you love me. I know you're depressed, but you have to find somebody new. So again, that's acceptance. It's closure. Izanami's father needed that closure, and he got it in this episode. Izanami needed her closure, and she got it on this episode, and it was awesome. But again, it was very sad. I mean, Truck-Kun did not hold. It did not hit the brakes. It went through, and it hit hard. Now, the last bit of the episode, when I tell you, I was rolling, I was laughing. I love how this episode really, it was like a roller coaster ride, right? It gave us our lows in sadness, and then at the end, it brought it back up with the high of the happiness that we could have gotten if it wasn't for Yota being a complete idiot. But I see where he is coming from, because once Izanami went to his house to kind of say thank you and say, is there anything I can do for you? I honestly felt like Yota would have taken advantage of the situation, and it does feel kind of like cheating, right? He has a god that's omniscient, We know this. It's a fact. Odin is omniscient, especially after what we got last episode, where she was able to tell him every single move to win that game that he played. So we know she's omniscient 100%. So everything was laid out. It was perfect. And once Odin kind of had her grim look saying, something is wrong. There is something wrong here. And you know what it was? Yota was not able to go through with it. I was happy. It was good because, again, it does feel like cheating and it does feel like taking advantage of Izanami's, because I think she's vulnerable right now, right? Her emotional state is definitely vulnerable, and I don't think Yota would have been in the right place to kind of confess in love and start a relationship this way. I'm sure we're going to get more chances. There's 11 days left, but that whole scene at the end, whenever Odin freaks out, I love it. Every time Odin freaks out because of something that Yota does, or whenever she learns that some random character has a God-given name, absolutely funny, and this one was no exception. She went all ham on Yota, and I loved it. Overall, this definitely was my favorite episode so far. We still got about, what, 7 episodes left, so I cannot wait. If the ending of this anime is going to be anywhere near as good as this episode was when it came to the sadness level, I'm sure it's going to surpass it by quite a lot. I just feel like this was a small taste of what we're going to get at the end. It's going to be truly great. Overall, great episode. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this episode. And like always, go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode.